All right, well, I want to welcome you all to today's Climbing the Capital Ladder webinar. This is brought to you in part by ACOG, the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments, and hosted by Progress OKC. My name is Mariana Adams, and I am privileged to serve as the Executive Director of Progress OKC. We are a non-for-profit dedicated to increasing and supporting home ownership, business ownership, and many other efforts in disinvested communities. A couple of weeks ago, if you were with us, Dr. Dale Gines joined us from the Federal Reserve to discuss equitable ecosystem building. That recording can be found on our website, progressokc.org. Today is the second installment of a three-part series, and we are so happy to have you, whether you're joining us now or watching later. This afternoon, we are joined by so many incredible partners and community-driven lenders and investors, including TEDC, LISC, ACOG, I2E, and Lightship, who you will hear from shortly. Next slide. So listing those partners, you can see that we are part of a larger local capital ladder, which simply means a network of lenders and investors who are looking to support you in various businesses and enterprises. Where you fall along this kind of sort of continuum may depend on which stage of the business cycle you are at as an entrepreneur, such as, hey, I have a great idea, or I'm just getting started, or hey, I have an existing business that I want to expand, or an existing business that I need to pivot, as well as the sophistication of your enterprise or business idea, such as developing technologies, bringing a niche idea to market, improving service delivery, et cetera, and your history or potential for performance, both operational and financial. Each level within this ladder has its own risk tolerance, which really refers to the amount of loss an investor or lender is prepared to handle if the business plan doesn't go to plan. As well as, eligibility criteria. So credit score threshold, collateral requirements, et cetera. In short, the starting point really varies entrepreneur by entrepreneur within this financing structure, but keep in mind that over time, your enterprise can move both up and down the capital ladder as you expand, grow, and thrive. So let's get started at the first rung of the capital ladder with crowdfunding. Daisy, take it away.
Hi, yes. So crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is, well, let me introduce myself. My name is Daisy Munoz. I'm the Capital Access Manager for Progress OKC, and I oversee the Kiva loan for the Oklahoma City MSA. So that is being Edmond, Norman, Yukon, Oklahoma City, any of those surrounding areas. All of the applications for Kiva go to me first, and I work with the borrowers hand on hand on daily to make sure that you have the best application to get you the maximized loan amount from Kiva. So yes, Kiva is a crowdfunding loan. And so what crowdfunding is, you have a business, a startup, or you're established, and you're looking for a small amount of money. And then from this small amount of money, you receive it from a large number of people, typically through the internet is how it's done. Okay, so yes. So for Kiva is from $1,000 to $15,000, zero interest, zero fees. For the requirements, you do not need to have a credit score. You do not need to be a citizenship. You do not have to have any collateral. It is at the very bottom of a capital rung is what we say. If you are looking for funds for a startup, or you're looking to receive a small amount for inventory, for machine equipment, you're looking to buy a storefront or get a storefront, then Kiva is a very accessible crowdfunded loan that you can apply to. And so for Kiva, like this, there's a range from 1,000 to 15,000. You do have to qualify for the loan. So on this, it depends on how strong your application is, how strong your social media presence is, and a couple of different factors that would qualify you for that amount. Some of the basic requirements that you do need to apply for Kiva is that your business must be registered. That is either having a certificate that shows that you're a legit business, having an EIN number that shows that you are paying taxes to the state. Your loan must be used for your business. So this loan, like I said, there's different things that you can do for this loan, but at the end of the day, it has to be used to put money back in your business. You must have a PayPal account. All the money is transferred through a PayPal account. You must be willing to write 3 short stories, because Kiva is a crowdfunded loan. People want to know about you, they want to know about your business, and they want to know what you're going to do with that loan. So the 3 short stories are personal. How did you get to this business plan? What drove you to open up your business? What motivates you daily, right? Your second one is about your business. What services do you provide? What products do you have? And what do you want to do in the future? Your third one is, what are you going to use this loan for? And then you also must be willing to take a picture of yourself, the borrower, with something in the background that shows what your business is. And then all of this information is put on a loan campaign that then is shared with your personal network and then with the Kiva network. And so to come again, you must be willing to crowdfund from your community and from the Kiva network. So the loan process for Kiva. So how Kiva works is you first either come in contact with me, or you know about Kiva on your own. You go on the Kiva website, you apply for the loan, you gather the couple of documents that you need, and you apply. Once you apply, that application comes to me. I'm the first one who sees it. I make sure that you have the strongest application. So can you get a better picture? Can we edit your story? Hey, I'm missing your LLC certificate. Hey, these numbers don't look right. They don't add up to the loan amount you're asking for. Let's change that so you can get qualified for the most, right? So then after that, I work with the borrower to get all of the different things that we need to make sure that you have a good application. So like how here it states, one of the things that Kiva loves to see is that the borrower knows about Kiva and is actively lending on that. So if you're thinking about applying for Kiva, one of the good things is, well, let's learn the process. Let's lend $20 to a different business. Something else that they love is for our business owners to have a really good social media presence, because that just tells Kiva that you are thinking about your presence online and in real life, right? And then another portion of it is that you can be endorsed by Kiva trustees. And then we do have Progress OKC, the Black Chamber of Oklahoma City, and other partners around that can be your endorsement if you have relationships with them. The third portion would be fundraising, which is private and public. So for private is after they review your application, Kiva will qualify you for an amount. Let's say they qualify you for 10K. Once they qualify you for 10K, they're going to give you the terms, which are up to 1 to 3 years. And then you would decide if Kiva is the right fit for you, right? Can you use the 10K? Can you make the monthly payments? And once you accept, you go into private fundraising, and where they're going to ask for a number of your community members to lend you at least $25. And so what this does is that since Kiva doesn't use collateral or use credit score, this ensures that you're going to pay back, because you're borrowing your community's money. They want to know that this portion is going to make sure that you pay your community back and every other lender. So it's kind of like the skin in the game that we all talk about, right? Is that your mom's money, your brother's money, you're going to pay that back, because you don't want to be owing your family members that money. And so once you receive that number of lenders from your private sector, then you're going to go into public fundraising. And for public fundraising, that is where we raise most of your funds. So we have big corporations like Grubhub, Amazon, Google, all these different entities that go into Kiva and lend these thousands of dollars that then add up to your 10K loan. Once your 10K loan is met, then we enter the repayment phase, where everything is, like I said, done through PayPal. You start paying a month after you receive your money, and then you do your monthly payments. Kiva does it really easy, where they put it on automatic pay, so then you don't even have to go in and pay. It just takes it out of your bank account monthly. And so then that is the process of Kiva. It is borrower driven. So the more communicative the borrower is, the faster they have their application is, the faster I'm able to move and kind of prioritize them throughout the many applications we have, just because the borrower is motivated and ready to get this money in their hands to then put the money back into their business and then hopefully gain a larger profit, right? And so some of the Kiva profiles that we have at today, these are kind of the most recent ones we had. Our 13th loan has been Talia. I met Talia at a festival, and like in the picture right here, she has a boutique, a pop-up shop, right? So she goes to different events and then she sells her curated clothing and handmade jewelry. And so I talked to her and I was like, hey, whenever you're ready to open a storefront, I have Kiva here and it can help you pay for a couple months of rent or buy more inventory. And she's like, I have a lot of inventory. I kind of just need that money to get me through those couple months of rent. So she was approved for a loan for $8,500, and she funded it around 2 weeks, I want to say. The other stories here to the right, Pei-Fing and Nora, they fundraised their loan the same day, like literally in an hour. And that's because we have different companies come in and match different campaigns depending on the month and of the partnerships that Kiva has. Oklahoma City right now, we have a partnership in where any business that resides in the OKC area, we would lend half of their loan. So then they only have to raise the other half through these other different companies and corporations. And so the highest loan that you can get through Kiva is $15K. Haifeng got that for his startup tech business, and where he offers roadside assistance, and they're growing very quickly. So they use the money to buy more equipment and more different things that they are needing. Nora right here, I worked with her. She has been in her food mart for roughly 7 years, and she wanted to renovate her bathrooms and just kind of renovate her store. So she's using the money for that. And so here in Oklahoma City, we have had 13 loans. We are working every day to get more loans. And all of this, again, is 0% interest, 0 fees, borrower driven. I work hand in hand with the applicant, and this can be from startups to established business needing money for their employee salaries, for equipment, for renovations, just making sure that the money is being spent on the business. And this is all for Kiva right now. Handed it back to Mariana.
Thank you so much, Daisy, for that great presentation. Again, Kiva being the first rung of the capital ladder, very inclusive, accessible, and affordable. And with that, we will talk about microloans, which is still a smaller amount of money that is lent at a low interest rate to businesses. Next slide. So I make sure I have the right group coming up. Okay. TEDC, okay. TEDC, I'm handing it over to you. We are joined today by Ray and Tiffany.
All right, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm Ray. I'm on the underwriting team here at TEDC, where part of the funds that we make available to entrepreneurs includes the microloan program. It's an SBA program to assist women, low-income veteran and minority entrepreneurs and other small businesses in need of financing in amounts of $50,000 or less, and business-based technical assistance, which is a huge advantage for the borrower, that we can actually deploy additional funds in order to help them get training or a mentor or an accountant, somebody to really help them with their books and help grow their business. Can we go to the next slide? The funding through the microloan program is available throughout the state of Oklahoma. Like I said, the maximum amount is $50,000. It can be used for short-term working capital or long-term debt for equipment, although the maximum term is 72 years. There are some ineligible expenses. You can't use it for real estate, and you also can't use it for, let me find where I put that, sorry. The other funding that you cannot use it for, or leasehold improvements. So you can't use it for any real estate or leasehold improvements. You can use it for working capital, supplies, furniture, fixtures, machinery, and equipment. We get personal guarantees from all 20% owners, and then we have an additional assignment of life insurance for the amount of the loan. What's great about the microloan is that it can be used for startups. It's a really good way to jumpstart your business, access some capital quickly, and it's a great way to learn how the borrowing process works. And the intention is to graduate microloan borrowers to a bigger bank and start learning procedures for how to grow their company in that way. Is there a next slide? So a couple of our borrowers that went through the microloan program are Rubicon Restaurant, Wits End Farm, Greenwood Avenue, and Hertz Donut. The top three were loans that we did before I started at TDC, but I was involved with Greenwood Avenue. It's an incredible success story right out of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. Trey Thaxton is an incredible entrepreneur. He's getting national coverage with his Greenwood Avenue products. You can see that the influence that Tulsa's having throughout the nation. So being able to start with microloan, you can really grow your business, and it can really help your needs. Tiffany, do you have anything you want to add?
I don't believe so. I think you pretty much covered it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all, and good luck.
Thank you, Ray and Tiffany. TDC is one of our trusted capital partners. They are a certified community development financial institution, having a great reputation in the community for decades over and serving Oklahoma. So with that, thank you so much. I will hand it over to Matt from ACOG, as well as Beth.
Beth Heskebeck.
Yes, I'm gonna see if she can join us by phone. Okay. All right,
Okay,
Matt, it's on you.
That's great. Thank you so much. I'm Matthew Weaver. I'm the Manager of Community and Economic Development here at the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments, ACOG, the organization that most of you have never heard of, and that's why we're here changing that, that tradition. So as a matter of fact, ACOG touches your life on a daily basis. We are the Metropolitan Planning Organization. We are the guys that put out the Clean Air Alert. We also house the Electrical Vehicle Coalition, and I'm responsible for the Capital Area Economic Development District. So councils of governments are of, by, and for the government, and not the government. We're here to find the gaps in communities. I represent 50 communities in 4 counties. And one thing that repeatedly pops up, obviously, is minority and small business assistance and development. Any type of programs out there are just kind of a one-off. And we were concerned about that. And so with our partners, LISC, Local Initiative Service Corporation, we've developed a very special business network. We're part of their business network organization that gives us access to some pretty incredible programs. And instead of me being the filter for SOAR, I've invited Beth Heskebeck, who is out of DC. She is the mind on SOAR with LISC. So I figured you want to hear it from her. And I'm going to hand it off to Beth, if she's there. And are you there?
I think Beth may be having some, I'm getting feedback, having some technical difficulties. So Matt, if you don't mind, we're actually going to skip to the next presentation, and I'll work with Beth on the back end.
Okay.
Because we definitely would like to hear from her for sure.
Sure. Thank you.
So if we could advance the slides, and I will hand it over to Malachi from I2E/Act House.
Thank you so much. We can advance the slides. So I'm Malachi Blankenship with I2E. What I2E does is we invest in entrepreneurs. We invest in high growth, scalable startups, and invest is more than just capital. We invest resources and programmatics and obviously capital as well. So we're a venture arm, and we have there's a lot of language there. We'll skip to the next slide, which breaks it down. The next two slides break it down in between our advisory and then our venture investment services. So on the advisory side, we have multiple programs that we do that I like to say we're a venture arm that has more than a check. And most people, when they say that from the venture capital side, it's because they have portfolio management and a lot of the tools to help the entrepreneurs that they invest into. We like to help entrepreneurs on that side as well, but we'll also help startups and founders before we even write the check. So we have the Act Tulsa Accelerator, which is a great example of that. You can see pictures of some of the accelerator participants where we give companies 70K of non-dilutive capital. That means 0% interest, 0% equity into their company. And we're working with them for 6 months in a hands-on founder first program. And then we also have, we'll work with companies on the due diligence sides. We'll work with companies on our E3 program, which for the Act Tulsa Accelerator, our applications are going to open for that in October. We do 2 cohorts a year. So our first cohort has 9 companies in it, and our second cohort will start in January, but the applications start in October. So if you're a Black or brown founder and are interested in that, again, you can go to acttulsa.com and fill out that. And I'm going to give a bottle to my little 10-month-old, who I'm also watching right now. Here you go. Dad life is my #1 job, and I'm very proud to do that. The E3 program is opening the next cohort in October. The application for that is coming up. For any of this information, there's a lot here. I always encourage founders to go to i2e.org, where you can find that information. You can fill out an inquiry form, which will tell us a little more about yourself and connect you with me or another one of our venture advisors on our team, so that we can dig into your company and understand more about where you are and to see if you're a good fit for i2e. If you're not, then we refer you to some of the other partners that are on the call, like Kiva and like Lightship and others that we work with often. You can go to the next slide. And this is just a little more about our investment side. So currently we have 5 funds that we invest in. We have 90 million under management. And I like to say we have five funds, but we have 3 different stages that we fund companies in. And the first one is like the MVP early pre-seed companies. And that's through our concept fund. And that fund is very unique in that similar to the Act Tulsa Capital, it doesn't take equity, but it does have like a 2x payback required. And then our other funds are traditional equity funds. So a lot of times when people are thinking, how do I get capital? It's important, as was stated at the beginning of this, to understand, where am I at and what type of company am I? And so if you are a company that has a high growth potential and scalability, we work with companies that can exit for, in the multi-million dollars, if not billion. We had a recent $1 billion exit with our one of our founding companies, Alchemy. So if you're a company like that, we work with you. But if you don't feel like you're quite there, we also work with you on a lot of those programs to hopefully see how you potentially could scale your company and grow it. So my name is Malachi Blankenship. You can go to i2e.org to learn more about all that we have to offer, see the list of portfolio companies that we've worked with. We've worked with over 700 companies here in Oklahoma. And you can also, catch me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Happy to connect and hopefully help you or assist you in your capital journey. Thanks for giving us this opportunity to connect.
Thank you, Malachi, so much. And I agree. I always say motherhood is the best hood to belong to. So, shout out to you. Let's see if
her mother is a soccer coach. So, and they have a game in Cincinnati. So I'm a full-on dad today.
Oh, awesome. Listen, multitasking. I want to see, Matt, if we can throw it over to you. Beth, if you are joining us by phone, please try to unmute yourself. Sometimes you have to do that on a cell phone by doing either *6 or #6.
Oh, I'm looking there.
I am on, I believe I'm unmuted. So
You're
thank
on,
you.
yes, there we go.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Take it away.
So y'all, I left my house today for an in-person meeting and it just threw me off. So I appreciate everybody's flexibility and patience. So my name is Beth Haskovic. I'm a program officer with Rural LISC. I wish I was the SOAR guru. I'm more the SOAR intermediary, which is what LISC is. We are the person who connects, the organization that connects local groups across the country with resources. And we're one of the largest CDFIs in the country as well. So we also offer our own lending products. But I wanted to talk a little bit about our relationship with SOAR as one of the kind of coordinating national organizations behind the collaborative and what's available with small businesses, and then also chat a little bit about what LISC has available. And in my role with Rural LISC, we're really focused on rural communities nationally, and what we're really looking at is communities under 50,000 in non-metro areas. So that's our target, to try to bring resources through access to capital, as well as many other different programs that focus on community development. So with SOAR, this is a partnership with Windrock International and Calvert Impact Capital. LISC is the fund manager. So these three groups have worked with private philanthropy, other funding mechanisms, government funds, to compile a group of resources for small businesses to access capital, in particular businesses and nonprofits that are focused on disenfranchised communities across the South and have been impacted, as we all have been, by the COVID-19 health and economic crisis. So SOAR targets small businesses in 15 different states in Washington, D.C., with 50 employees or fewer, with an explicit focus on historically under-resourced communities and businesses in low-income areas owned by women or people of color. And SOAR is really looking for, in particular in Oklahoma, SOAR, the connecting organization that's our local CDFI partner, is Communities Unlimited. So we do have different CDFI partners. I think there are 13 across the South that we're working with that have different state profiles, and in Oklahoma, that is Communities Unlimited. So they're the direct contact for any businesses looking to borrow. And I did include the SOAR Fund website here, connecttocapitol.com/P/SOAR-fund. So they would be the contact for any business owners looking to learn more about the product and explore a loan through the SOAR Fund. And as I mentioned, LISC is the fund manager, so we're the ones that are kind of connecting all of the different CDFIs to the resources. But for eligibility, we're looking at businesses and nonprofits, like I mentioned, that have 50 or fewer employees, that have had a direct impact by COVID-19, that has impacted their operations, and that they have been in place since at least September of 2019. This is a slightly larger pool of funds from some of the microfinance we've heard about today. So the maximum loan amount is $100,000. We're finding that the average loan size is about $25,000 to $30,000, but they can go up to $100,000. And the interest rates for this program start at 4% for for-profit businesses and 3% for nonprofit organizations, with a 5-year term. And there are some fees as well associated with that. But there's a ton more FAQs and resources about the program, even some videos and webinars on that SOAR website. So I do really encourage folks to go to the website and check it out if this is something that might be a good fit for your business. And then I wanted to talk a little bit more too about what LISC offers. We also have a Kiva program where we work with trustees across the country, because we recognize that microfinance is a huge gap. And so love to hear a lot about Kiva and what's happening in Oklahoma on this call today. And then we have our own suite of small business products for larger loans over that 100,000 and up to 5 million for commercial real estate acquisition and construction. So I shared a quick overview here of some of our products, and from permanent working capital to acquisition, leasehold improvements. We have makerspace loans as well as those commercial real estate loans. And I think the commercial real estate loans are really our sweet spot in a place where a lot of smaller or more regional CDFIs don't necessarily do lending. So that could be an opportunity to explore if you're interested, or have the project that might fit that threshold. We don't necessarily print our interest rates because we are a nonprofit, and so we try to find supplementary funds to bring into our loan deals, but typically our range is 4 to 6% for any of those loans as well. And I had an awesome story about a co-op in Astoria that I was going to share with you, but I'm having those tech issues and wasn't able to pull it up. But it was just posted today for Small Business Week on the LISC LinkedIn page. So I'll send you all on the scavenger hunt and find LISC on LinkedIn, and you can learn more about a cooperative grocery store in Astoria that we provided funding for, and have the opportunity to read up on that. So just to make your life a little bit more adventurous today, along with my tech adventures. But yeah, happy to answer any questions or send it back to you, Daisy.
Thank you so much, Beth and Matt, for joining us and talking about discussing SOAR, which again was a fund that was created as a direct result of the kind of catastrophic nature of COVID and its impact on our small businesses and under-resourced businesses. So we're thankful to have you. Last but not least, let's bring on Alfred, who is going to talk on behalf of Lightship Foundation. And then after that, we should have some time for question and answers.
Awesome, thank you. Nice to meet everybody. My name is Alfred Jackson, and I am the manager of Lightship Programming and Accelerator in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You can go to the next slide, please. And actually the next, yeah. So Lightship, think of it as like one umbrella, and under that umbrella, we have two main organizations. We have Lightship Capital, which is our $50 million fund that is writing $500,000 to $1 million checks into seed stage companies that have a Black, minority, woman, or LGBTQ founder in the C-suite. And that C-suite role can be CEO, COO, Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Technology Officer, just someone in that C-suite. And on the foundation side, we have more of our community-facing things like our Workflow Wednesdays, which are second and fourth Wednesday of every month at 36 Degrees North Camp 2. It's just a really awesome networking event that we put on to bring together the entrepreneurial community, the corporate community, those folks with side hustles. And my goal is to bring more kids out to the event, those student entrepreneurs, to kind of, start go ahead and networking and meeting other people in their community. Also, we do this thing called the Lightship Bootcamp, which is a weekend where we bring founders from across the US to different cities that we have offices. So sometimes it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, other days it's in Cincinnati, and sometimes it's in Detroit. And we bring these founders in for just a weekend of peer mentoring and learning, where we're taking these founders through assessments on their brand, marketing, their pitch decks, their sales decks, the way they talk about the business, the way they present the technology, the way they, even down to their copy on their websites, and like really kind of getting into the nitty gritty with the goal of when those companies come out of those boot camps, they're either ready to, land that big contract or raise that next round of capital. And additionally, we have our accelerator, which we're happy to, say that we're going to be launching in top of the new year here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we'll be investing in 15 Black entrepreneurs in Oklahoma over the next 3 years. So that's 5 per year. And the check size for that is $250,000. So those companies can be in Tulsa, can be in Oklahoma City. And we'll kind of get into it a little bit towards the end of the presentation. But it's kind of more of a sprint style accelerator. And I'll explain what that means in a little bit. So next slide, please. So to just kind of give like a deeper overview of what Lightship Capital is, we're exploiting 2 market failures to benefit the people that invest in us, our LPs. The first is that there's a really kind of insane lack of venture capital in the Midwest, despite there being so many amazing universities and corporations being based here. And there's also a lack of capital that's being presented that's really available to underrepresented our founders, that'd be Black, LGBTQ, minority founders or women. And we want to exploit that opportunity by saying, hey, everybody else is really kind of not investing in these folks, but we see the value in these markets and in these founders, and we feel like we can help these people, build billion-dollar companies, which is why we say we turn bias into profit. Next slide, please. So some of the industries that we invest in, we focus on healthcare, consumer packaged goods and services, or another way to think about it is like good old-fashioned direct-to-consumer or consumer products. Also, we invest in e-commerce. Also, we invest in companies that are in the sustainability space. And lastly, we like to invest in companies that are using some form of artificial intelligence or machine learning to build their products. Next slide, please. So, and the way that we kind of select these companies, and I'll kind of make this a quicker process, is that we really want to focus on, all right, while yes, these companies are underrepresented, are led by underrepresented founders, there's still a need to, one, how do we make sure that we're making a return on this investment? So it's a really quantitative assessment on this company's potential to return, like return on our fund, and that kind of goes into the industry that company is building in, that founder's background, and also just getting really nitty gritty into the product. Is this product something that's actually something that's different to the market, or are they using some new sales tactic or a new technology to figure out a way to exploit the market and do something, build something really big. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oop. So I'll kind of just wrap it up. So, even though this is kind of like the way that we bring in companies, a lot of the programming accelerators or events that we do all lead into the investments. So whether it's our boot camps, where we're preparing these founders to go land these contracts and helping them raise capital, or whether it's our accelerator or even our Workflow Wednesday events, all of these things lead up into ways that we want to try to find entrepreneurs that we can invest in and support. So all these events, while yes, they serve a community purpose, we're also trying to find investment opportunities for the accelerator. I think someone asked the question of real estate. Sadly, we do not invest in real estate. We potentially could invest in a technology that real estate firms are using or technology that is used in the real estate industry, but we wouldn't invest in like a real estate style investment. So the way you can reach out to me, like I said before, my name is Alfred Jackson. I'm the manager of the Lightship Accelerator. We do our Workflow Wednesday events every second and fourth Wednesday at 36 Degrees North, Camp 2 in Tulsa. And you can reach out to me directly at alfred@lightship.foundation, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And we look forward to finding ways to come on over to Oklahoma City and do some of our events and programming out there as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing such critical and important information, Alfred. To build on the last question that you had just mentioned about real estate, someone asked, I know, and Joanne, we will get to your question as well. I know there was a person who said that they don't necessarily work with real estate. Do any of the panelists help with those sort of things? I want to say, and I may be wrong, but I know that Lisk or Matt, Beth had mentioned doing some real estate deals as they are a national CDFI. Beth, could you add more into that? And if any other capital providers touch on that, invest in that or do lending for, I'm assuming commercial real estate, or no, this is residential real estate, please join in.
Sure, yeah. So we do commercial real estate lending at Lisk. And so my contact information, Beth Haskovic at Rural Lisk. My email is B as in boy, Haskovic, HASKOVEC @lisk.org. So you can reach out to me directly, but we do up to $5 million loans for acquisition and construction of commercial real estate projects.
Thank you so much. Ray or anyone on TDC, do you all do anything related to real estate with any of your products? I know we focused on one product that's under your umbrella, but with any of your products?
We do commercial real estate lending through multiple funding pools, but most of them are owner occupied real estate and not real estate that is meant to be, rented or leased out. There are some new programs that TDC is starting to stand up that will implement funding for things like Section 8 housing, but it hasn't been rolled out yet.
Okay, thank you so much, Beth and Ray. And it looks like Matt shared Beth's contact information in the chat if you would like to get in contact with her. The other question was related to, so far as capital providers, statistics regarding who has applied or received funds or financial assistance. And I'll open that up to the group. I'd frame that by, so we intentionally selected capital partners that have curated products or programming for BIPOC individuals. This whole series is focused on how we can better respond and support minority-owned enterprises and small businesses. And so you heard a little bit from everyone that said, hey, we have a specific fund or a specific program that is intentionally focused on that segment of our community, women-owned, veteran-owned, minority-owned. I know on behalf of, and Daisy can answer this on behalf of Kiva, but Kiva is really focused on financial inclusion, and a part of our agreement is to serve majority of our funding for minority-owned and women-owned businesses. And Daisy, if you want to share those statistics, yes, you can.
So for women, it's greater than 60%, and for BIPOC communities, which is communities of color, it's greater than 80%. Yeah, so most of the people that we serve are from communities of color and mostly women.
And we just know that there are greater challenges and barriers for those segments of the community when it comes to accessing capital. And so we wanted to be intentional in that front. Alfred?
Yeah, so I can't give the most specific numbers, but in regards to if we look at 2020 for us, we looked at about 2,500 companies, and we invested in around 5 of those companies towards at the end of the year. I think one of the things that is always kind of helpful if you're someone that's building a technology startup and you're interested in raising venture capital and you're trying to figure out the rate of investment that firm is doing within a year, you can go on websites such as crunchbase.com or CB Insights or PitchBook if you have access to it. Crunchbase.com is probably the best one. And you can just look at each year, 2019 or 2018 or 2020. You can kind of see, all right, this firm is writing 10 checks into companies for this year, or 20 checks or 30 checks. You can kind of get a gauge for how active they are, or they're just, also it kind of goes in the fund size. So a $50 million fund, that's for about 3 to 4 years of investing. So you have maybe 20, 25 checks you can write within that. So you can kind of guesstimate how many, investments that firm is going to make within that year, and kind of see the rate of investments on those websites.
Thank you so much. Okay, Clarence, I see your hand up. When you're ready to go, you are allowed to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
We sure can.
Okay, great. Ma'am, my committee for the historical school that I mentioned to you before, I attended one of your 2 of your webinars when Dr. Dale Gaines was here for a webinar. I'm pretty sure you remember him, right? You remember the webinar with Dr.
Yes.
Dale? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, anyway, my thing is this: we have a committee meeting tomorrow, and I was wondering, it's just a whole bang of information that I've learned from this particular webinar here. How soon will I be able to get a copy of this? Because I would like to give this information to the committee so that we can kind of work together on trying to get some money for that school that I told you about that was trying to renovate.
Yes, so we are, I'm gonna put you on mute just because of the feedback. So we are recording this and we'll get it uploaded as soon as possible. I'm not sure if it's gonna be tomorrow, but one thing I can share with you are the links to every organization's webpage. And Mr. Clarence, something you want to be mindful of is, you know, and I don't know if it's a nonprofit or for-profit, some of these programs and products are limited to for-profit businesses and a couple of them for nonprofit organizations. So I will get a list. I can actually start in the chat, just a list of websites so you can explore sort of what they offer, and then we'll get this recording posted to our website as soon as we can. Any other questions? Okay. Going once, going twice. Some of you all are looking like you're itching to get 13 minutes back. So yes, you know what? Greg Jones is joining us. He's a part of the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center. He was recently hired to serve the Northeast and Greater Oklahoma City market. They are an incredible resource as well for small business technical assistance, both in group settings and one-on-one. So Greg, if you don't mind dropping your information in the chat, that would be great. And with that, thank you all again for joining us for this 3-part series. We will have another webinar later this month. Please stay engaged and follow both Progress OKC and ACOG and all of these other wonderful organizations as we help respond in this moment and making a movement for better supporting under-resourced small businesses in our communities. Thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and attention. And with that, we will wrap up. Have a good afternoon.